Welcome to Casual Compliance, a show about the culture and philosophy of Commander. Usually we speak about precons on the Precon, but this time we built our own.
Hi, I'm Chilibin.
Hi, I'm Gramps. And today we are talking, once again, thank you Wizards of the Coast for sending us this awesome Avatar product. And today we're actually using the Commander Bundle, or the Commander's Bundle, as it's called.
Yes.
Which is this brilliant bundle that has 3 Commander staples, the Arcane Signet, the Soul Ring, and the Swiftfoot boots.
Yeah.
But then also 2 out of 10 potential Commander printings. Deflecting SWAT, Worldly Tutor. All of these really cool cards that could be in Commanders. And what we wanted to do was use this for what we feel like is its intended purpose. We wanted to build a Commander deck with the product from inside because there were no precons.
And also 1 collector booster and 9 play boosters
14
inside?
play boosters.
14?
Yep.
Was it? Really?
Nope, I lied. No, it's 9.
Yeah.
9, because they use the numerical 14 on the back, but 9 as in the alphabetic. So they NINE 14 card.
Oh, okay, sure.
So that's my fault. I know how to read. Imagine if it was 14 play boosters. That'd be insane.
I was going to say. Crazy value.
So yeah, there's no precon to talk about, so we built our own.
Yeah.
We really tried our best, and you can see it. We opened the packs to find what cards we could use that would be viable. We opened the collector booster, opened from that what could be a viable commander.
I mean, we opened the whole thing.
Yeah.
We weren't just limited to the collector booster for the commander.
Yep.
We opened every pack, we pulled out all of the legendary creatures and literally talked about all of them for about half an hour.
And then figured out what we could do. It was about a 4-hour process. So instead of you just watched us build decks in half an hour, now you watched us talk about one commander for half an hour for what we could do.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to do was we were really deliberate about building a precon. We wanted to build a precon that was, it did some mechanics. It had its core mechanic and built around it. And then did some extra little things like you would see on a deck box where it says the name, which is...
a family in flames.
And then the 2 little banner bar things, which says generate...
What do we end up with? It was like generate mana?
Yeah.
I will get to it. I've got it written down.
Good stuff. we
because we haven't talked about the commander.
Yeah, we put a bit of a tagline, and then we had our commander. And then what we wanted to do was take the rest of the packs and use as much as we could out of them to build this deck like you would see in a set like this. We had a look at previous precons from Universes Beyond and things like this where it is different. It is there is a narrative as well that you wanted to try and be true to.
Yes.
So like the 40k decks, the Spider-Man decks all had about 18 to 25 reprints in them. So we had space for that.
Yep.
And then we really wanted to, as the brackets go with, the commander brackets, we wanted to make an intentional 2. We wanted to make something that could be played at a table where everyone can bring on their intentional 2s of, getting in pre-con level, even though, we're trying to move away from that. That has very obvious slots of take this out, put in a banger, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So
in terms of like other restrictions we placed on ourselves, avatar cards that we've used were limited to what we got out of the box.
Yes. With an asterisk.
With an asterisk of the TLE set code, all of the like bonus sheet stuff, anything that was on there that was a reprint, we deemed as, even if we didn't pull it, we could use it because they're just reprints.
That's just a reprint.
Reprints happen. And that was kind of the main restriction because like if we didn't do that, what's the point of opening the box? We could have just picked anything from the set.
Another intentional restriction as well was we looked at a lot of we didn't want it to be a $7,000 deck.
Yeah.
We didn't want it to be super expensive. The whole point of this as well is
approachability.
Approachability and affordability. Now, when you look at other shows doing deck like breakdowns and stuff like that, they talk about the reprint value and like the value of the deck as it stands if it were to be reprinted. And we try to keep with that as well in mind. So we didn't want it to be overly expensive. Yeah. So when you go to the Mox field, you're going to see it and be like, oh, that's actually pretty approachable.
Yeah.
So that was definitely something really in our minds there.
Yeah. Let's get to the deck.
Let's get to the deck.
Let's get to my laptop.
On the box, the face there, a family in flames.
Yes.
What family could we be talking about? It's the Fire Nation family.
Yes. So our commander here is Ozai, the Phoenix King, 2 black, red for a 7/7 legendary human noble. It has trample. It has haste. It has firebending 4.
Woo!
Let me just find.
Just to remind everyone,
Yeah,
firebending 4. When you attack, this creature creates 4 red mana.
Mm-hmm.
That mana disappears at the end of combat,
Yes.
with an asterisk of unless stated otherwise.
Yeah. That's not actually written on the card. That's just there are ways around that limitation. Yes. The rest of Ozai reads, if you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes red instead. So we've already fulfilled the asterisk.
And importantly, that mana becomes red mana instead, doesn't disappear.
No. So what the way that ability works out is anytime you change steps and phases, you would lose mana in your mana pool. So what that commander lets you do is keep it forever, including as you move to other people's turns and come back to the beginning of your turn with a bunch of mana in your pool.
Yeah.
The final ability on Ozai is Ozai has flying and indestructible as long as you have 6 or more unspent mana.
Easy done.
Which is cool.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Such a cool card.
What's the green one? Omnath Locus of Mana, which is like it just gets bigger as a creature for each green mana you have.
Yeah.
It's incentivizing you to keep mana.
Yeah. So when you're looking at this commander, what we're looking at is what would this deck do? We're in Rakdos.
Yes. I should say too, the tagline that we decided to put on the front of the box, generate firepower, go out with a bang.
Like a family in flames.
Yes. The general theme that we kind of went for is like generating a lot of mana one way or another, and then what can you do with it?
Exactly. And if you go back to the deck percent, you see the combat trick deck I made.
Yes.
This is very similar but very different.
Yes.
In the same ways, because again, Ozai is red, black, and 2.
Yeah. So just to talk about that idea a little bit more of like being able to keep mana and not have it disappear. In the deck as we've built it, there's only 3 cards that do that. So obviously the commander. We've also got Avatar Roku Firebender.
Yep.
3 red for a 6/6 legendary human avatar. It says whenever a player attacks. Whenever a player, any player, whenever anyone attacks, you add 6 red mana.
Yep.
Until end of combat, you don't lose this mana as steps end. So that's just keeping it within combat.
Yes.
And then it has for 3 red, target creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn. So there's an interesting thing I've just realized that we didn't talk about while we were building it. You could use this to boost other people's creatures.
Yes.
So if you're trying to make deals and maybe play a little bit of politics,
it's a very fun politic card.
You can do that.
And also Family in Flames, notoriously Ozai's wife's dad, Avatar Roku.
Yeah. And then we've got the Legend of Roku, 2 red for a saga. It's one of these sagas that flips to a creature. So step 1, exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards.
Brilliant.
Step 2, add 1 mana of any color. Step 3, exile the saga, then return it flipped. Which is
Avatar Roku,
a 4/4 legendary avatar, which has firebending 4.
Brilliant.
And then for 8 generic mana, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying and firebending 4.
And also, if you think about that 8 generic mana and what that effect does, it doesn't say do it as a sorcery. So if you're in combat, you can just make that with all the firebending you have.
Yeah, I'm also realizing we've tagged this as maintain mana. It doesn't let you do that.
Yeah, it does through combat, so it's very loosely.
Not Avatar Roku. Oh, not the Legend of Roku. Avatar Roku does.
Oh, no, the Legend of Roku.
The Flip Saga doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
So we'll have to correct that.
It's a firebender.
Yeah.
But then it actually goes into the generate mana thing. So
yes,
let's talk about that first. The first tagline.
Mm-hmm. Generate mana. We have, excluding the commander, 19 cards that will in some way generate mana. Now that includes things like Soul Ring and Arcane Signet.
Yes.
But those are generating mana.
Exactly.
And for the purpose of what we're doing here, we just lump them all together.
Yeah, because that mana will turn into red mana at the end.
Yes.
So,
but
either way.
So this, as you'd probably expect, includes a lot of stuff that is firebending.
Yes.
And things like that.
We have a bunch of firebenders. We've got the firebending student.
Which is 1 and a red for a 1/2 with prowess, which is neat. Firebending X, where X is this creature's power.
We have Fire Nation cadets.
Yes, we do. 1 red for a 1/2 human soldier. Has firebending 2 as long as there's a lesson card in your graveyard.
And then what was really interesting is we had the warden in here.
The Vindictive Warden?
The Vindictive Warden, which has firebending on it. It's a 2 and a hybrid black or red.
Correct.
With menace.
Yep.
Firebending 1.
Firebending 1.
And then also pay 3.
Yeah.
Deal 1 damage.
To each opponent.
To each opponent.
Yeah.
That is, and we'll get further into that, but that is something you can do with all of that firebending mana. So, our 19 mana generators that can generate really well, if you're not keeping that mana, say you don't have Ozai out, if you're not, or Roku out, if you're not keeping that mana, that's got to go somewhere.
Yeah. And that was kind of the tricky thing to build around with firebending, is a lot of this mana is being generated during combat.
Yes.
And aside from a couple of cards
goes away,
you're losing it at the end of combat.
100%.
So a lot of what we tried to build for is like, how can you make use of it during combat before it all just kind of goes away? Because we don't want to lean too much on the idea of the commander being in play, because what if it's not? Then the deck falls apart. So like one from an older set known as Soulbright Flamekin, 1 and a red for a 2/1 elemental shaman for 2 generic mana. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. If this is the 3rd time this ability has resolved this turn, you may add 8 red mana to your mana pool.
How good.
Yeah, and that's the only cost on that is 2 generic mana, so you can spend a bunch of that firebent mana
to make things have trample and then get 8 back.
Yeah. So that leads us nicely into the other main tag of this deck, which is Combat Trick.
Yep.
So a lot of this is, some of these show up again from the generate, like Firebending Student, because it has prowess.
Yes.
So that's a way that we kind of lumped all of that together again, because like if you're casting their spells during combat, they're useful during combat.
And if you're swinging with a 1/1 and then you do something in combat to make it bigger, that's a combat trick in my mind, anyway.
In the purpose of what this deck is trying to do.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
It's not your traditional like, I'm just going to make it bigger. It's like, well, I am, but like in this way that isn't typically how you think of pump spells.
Yeah. No, it's the combat trick side is a lot of one cost instance, and this is where the deck percent comes in. It's like the lightning bolts, the Azula print, which is super cool. You've got turn inside out. Was that one? Sorry, monstrous. Rage was on discussion. We didn't put Monstrous Rage in there at the end because we felt it wasn't right for the narrative of the set.
But what we did put in is Fire Breathing.
There you go.
One red for an aura, enchant creature. For 1 red mana, enchanted creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn.
Imagine you have 30 mana, you put Fire Breathing on Ozai.
Yeah.
And then you pump Ozai
just
like that.
Just remember, Ozai's got trample.
Exactly. That's commander damage done.
That's it.
And that's
if he's got all that mana, he's got flying and indestructible.
Exactly. And that's that second tagline of
go out with a bang.
Go out with a bang.
That's it. And then I think like the next biggest set of cards was we filed it under card availability.
Yes.
Which is kind of like card draw-ish.
Yeah. Which had way more than I thought was going to be in it. That was like something in the back of the mind.
Yeah, it was kind of a mix of 3 mechanics. One being cards that say draw a card one way or another. It was things that create clue tokens, which surprisingly there's a lot of in this set, especially in red.
So Chris Mooney was talking about it most recent Drive to Work, which was Aang and the gang are always being hunted. And this whole point of in the Fire Nation and in Rakdos specifically, clue was really prevalent because it's the Fire Nation finding clues about where the gang are.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what that is. So there's actually a decent amount of dig down in this.
Yeah. And then the other sort of like card draw like effect that is actually quite popular in red is effects like exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn.
Yes.
So it's a lot of like you're exposing those cards to yourself, but you have a limited window of time in which to play them.
Yeah.
So it is card availability. You're making more options available,
especially in a deck that is combat tricks and instants and getting big hitters out.
We also like there's a few specific tutor effects in here, and we tuck those in with card availability, like low and Lee twin tutors for a black 2/2 legendary human advisor. When it enters, search your library for a lesson or noble card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. That's why that's in there.
And it's a pretty cool card because some of the nobles we have are Zuko. There's 2 Zukos in here.
No, there's also your commander here.
Yeah.
Because it also says noble creatures you control and lesson spells you control have lifelink.
So it's a lord as well.
Yeah.
And then we did put a few lessons in here because there were lessons printed in the set to really round it out as a bit of a typal instant that has benefits.
Yeah. Like not heaps, but a few that were useful here, like energy bending, 2 generic mana. For an instant, this says land you control gain all basic land types until end of turn, and also draw a card.
Which is important if you're wanting to try and play Ozai and you have like you're struggling to get that black mana or you're struggling to get that red mana, and it helps you
because this
build
deck is mostly red.
Yes,
and we've built the lands as such.
Yep.
But if you don't draw the black, you're not going to be able to play some of this deck.
Exactly. And a lot of the black cards in this deck are like removal type spells. You know, that because when you're building for commander, especially when you're building for like bracket 2 commander, you're wanting to build with some of the more generic concepts in mind, like that card availability, the card draw, like removal, interaction.
I think still, like, it depends. I still think even at bracket 2, it depends if that much removal is the right call for the deck that you're trying to run. I think in this case it is, because like the Fire Nation is there to destroy things.
Exactly. It's very narratively well made.
But yeah, that's where we see things like under removal, 15 cards. We're looking at things like Lightning Bolt, Lightning Strike, any of those like direct damage type spells. We just chuck
Lightning
them in
Strike
there.
printed in the set, amazing.
Yeah.
Blasphemous Act with a source material card.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Says 15 options under there. A lot of them not surprising instants. But then that's where we get into like where things got a little funky is this idea of like many spells.
Yeah, it was originally the mindset was Storm, but Storm didn't feel right.
Well, because it like, yes, it includes Storm, but then it's things like copying spells. It's things like exiling a bunch of cards and being able to play them without paying for them.
There's an Overload in this that I'm so excited about.
The Mizzix Mastery.
Mizzix Mastery is in there.
3 and a red for a sorcery. Exile target card that is an instant or sorcery from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it, and you may cast the copy without paying for it. Then exile Mizzix Mastery. Overload for 5 red.
Yeah, so everything in there. So
yes.
And that's again that final tagline of go out with a bang.
Yeah, and similarly things like I really like. I'd never seen this card before we did this build. Mirror Wing Dragon.
Yep.
3 red for a 4/5 dragon with flying. It says whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery that targets only this creature, that player copies that spell for each other creature they control that the spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. So there's 2 ways this can play out. One, someone goes for single target removal on it, and because that wording says they copy the spell for each other creature they control, they might blow up their own board. But if you target it with one of your spells, you might be buffing everything.
Exactly. Maybe
giving them all fire bending or something crazy.
And now when we first started building this, I was narratively opposed to some of the dragons being in until we expanded it from beyond bad guy Fire Nation to Fire Nation family.
Yes.
So like Ran and Shaw are the dragons in there.
Yes.
3 red. Firebending 4.
No, you want me to read it?
Yeah, I'm trying to go top of my head.
Yeah, no, Ran and Shaw, 3 red for a 4/4 legendary dragon, flying and firebending 2.
Damn.
When Ran and Shaw enter, if you cast them, and there are 3 or more dragon and or lesson cards in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of Ran and Shaw, except it's not legendary. 3 and a red, dragons you control get +2/+0 until end of turn.
And narratively, the dragons Ran and Shaw were Ozai's dad. And Roku's dragon, so it makes sense for them to be in there. And the Mirror Wing Dragon is actually is a the
source
material print
with those 2 dragons
with Ran and Shaw in the Sun Warriors area. It's such a lovely reprint that I did not want to miss that. It was so nice.
It also works so well with kind of what this deck is trying to do, because you're able to like generate a bunch of mana, spend it on one spell, and have it just like go crazy.
Exactly.
And I think that's also like, you know, the firebending, it's kind of hard to control. Sometimes it goes too big and you don't mean it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. What about our lands?
Lands. A lot of them are untagged because they're kind of just lands.
Lands being lands.
We went for lands that are largely featuring volcanoes and or fire.
Without putting now the elephant in the room is the Valakut Mountain source material print. We did not put that in there because personally, I do not think that is something they would put in a precon nowadays.
Yeah.
There are definitely some cards that are in this where in either source material prints or in general reprints, we could have put in, but looking at the they wouldn't put that in a precon.
Yeah. Yeah, and like trying to keep it at that like there's a world in which you build this deck in a way that's a lot more complicated
100%.
and requires a lot more like intricacies of understanding how mana like can leave mana pools, and that's like, yeah, you could do that and not spend that much money, but like if you're building this deck with the idea of new players in mind, does that make sense?
Yeah, we wanted to be because like that was the first discussion about our commander. Really was how we had 2 really good cards that could have been commander, and this one was a bit more complicated than one of the other ones, but it felt right for. It's the right level of that little bit of extra complexity, which is tracking the mana. You've got a really cool 99 counter clicker. You got the clicker counter that you can track your mana with.
If you like.
If you like. Now we know Pyromancer's Goggles has been printed in precons before. It was in one of the precons.
I don't really.
Yeah, it was
That's
in a precon.
Crazy.
It would be too complex, in my opinion, for something like this where you're already tracking unspent mana.
Yeah.
You would have to track that one separately.
Yes.
And it's too complicated.
Yeah.
Well, with the thing we haven't really spoken about is the cards that can be swapped out.
Yes. There's plenty of cards from this set that would go really well in here.
There is some, and again, this was our constraint. It's fun. It's more fun building commander decks than constraints, in our opinion.
Restriction breeds creativity.
Restriction breeds creativity. Restriction also allows for you, the player at home, who looks at this deck and says, "Hey, this is a really good skeleton for a Rakdos, Ozai, the Phoenix King deck." There are about 10 cards that are really. They're narrative cards. They're flavor cards where it's like, we pulled them. There's Fire Nation Raiders in there. Things like that where they fit in the deck because they're fine. They're creatures. They're Fire Nation creatures. They're red. They will benefit from being in there, but they could easily be replaced.
Yeah, I think a couple of those we put in have a raid ability, which is basically if you attacked this turn, right?
Yes, which this deck is attacking. It's aggressive.
Yeah.
If this was in a precon was built, you'd look at it and think, oh, this is one of the weaker ones where we understand why it's in here, but it's one of those that we would count as quote unquote too many things.
Yeah, because we looked at it, it's like, what is this deck largely incentivizes you to attack because that's how you get firebending to trigger.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of like, well, these are the cards we had available from the box. They make sense. Are they the best choice? No.
But they're there.
Yeah.
And we wanted to include them.
Yes.
Because like, if, for example, a card we did not pull from our Commander bundle that we've pulled from every other thing we've done, Firebending Ascendancy.
Oh, yeah.
Would be an immediate...
I think we've got like 4 copies of that now.
Exactly. We've got a play set of them. So, hey, standard, here I come. But
sorry,
like,
Firebender Ascension.
Firebender Ascension, thank you.
One in a red for an enchantment. When it enters, create a 2/2 red soldier creature token with Firebending 1.
Yep.
Whenever a creature you control attacking causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, put a quest counter on this enchantment. Then if it has 4 or more quest counters, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that doubles up all of your firebending triggers.
Yeah.
That wouldn't double up raid because it's not during... Well, if...
No, I don't think so.
If a creature attacking causes an ability...
Raid is things like at the beginning of your end step if you attack this turn.
Yeah, so it's not a creature attacking that triggers it. It's the fact you attack.
It's a retrospective ability. It's looking, did you attack already?
Yeah. So like that, the Ascension goes in really easily. Mass Hysteria. If you give everything haste.
Yeah.
Bam.
Just go swinging.
Yeah, it goes, and that's what this deck wants you to do.
Yeah, and like a land that goes in so easily is Fire Nation Palace.
Gorgeous.
Enters tapped unless you control a basic land. Taps for red, or for 1 red and tap. Target creature you control gains Firebending 4 until end of turn.
We did put the Ko's land in here. We did, which is the black version of this, which
the Realm of Ko.
The Realm of Ko, yes.
Or like all it does is for 3 black and tap. Create a 1/1 colorless spirit token with it can't block or be blocked by non-spirit creatures. Like, you'd swap that out pretty quickly. It doesn't really fit here.
I actually it doesn't fit
mechanically.
But the thing is, so if you create an unblockable 1/1 and then super buff it up with everything,
true,
it becomes harder to hit.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that.
It can't block it can't block, and it can only be blocked by spirits.
And we've already spoken about some of the more advanced cards you'd put in, your Pyromancer's Goggles.
Yeah, like Ashling Flame Dancer. It's another way to keep all the red mana.
100%. Super brilliant. And also Magecraft. Magecraft is a super slept on mechanic in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's whenever you cast or copy a spell, right?
And you're doing both.
Yeah.
In this deck a lot.
Yes.
So like anything with Magecraft can go in quite well.
Yes. The other one I would bring up is Doubling Cube. 2 mana for an artifact. For 3 and tap, double the amount of each type of mana in your mana pool.
I also would look at an interesting one that there was a bit of an artifact sub-theme that happened here in terms of the clues coming out.
Yeah.
Strionic Resonator, is that the one that doubles abilities?
For 2 and tap, copy target triggered ability you control.
5
and choose new targets. Yeah.
So on Roku, anything like that. Because you could do that on another person's turn.
Yeah.
So like if you're attacking, so I'd say I don't get to attack because Roku's come down, then you attack and I have enough, and then Roku, the 6 mana comes off. I use some of that 6 mana to double that trigger, or the trigger's on the stack?
Triggers on the stack before it resolves, you pay 2, tap Strionic Resonator.
Then you get 12.
Copy the trigger.
Yep.
Then they both resolve, you get 12.
Yeah.
Then you could double
So
in
you
cube,
at least
go
have
to
to-
24.
Yeah. See how it gets bigger like that. So like there is so many ways that we could have very easily designed to run away with this. But again, let's talk about to wrap up the culture that we wanted to do with this deck and what we wanted to carry forward in terms of precons.
Yes.
Right? And there was a discussion in the most recent announcement when they spoke about brackets and how the Modern Horizons 3 precons are not at the same precon level as the starter precons.
Nor are the Warhammer 40k or like actually any of the Universes Beyond ones. They're designed to be a deck that you never want to take apart.
Yep.
Because people value the IP and keeping all the like cards together. As a result, the cards in those decks and the decks themselves are like a bit more powerful.
Yes.
To encourage people to keep them together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to do here and was what kept coming up in our discussion, because we never actually both said, oh, hey, we said we're making an intentional 2 and intentional precon, but we never said, oh, this is for the newer player. But what came up in our conversations regularly as we mentioned cards was, what is the complexity at an entry level? We wanted to make an entry level deck to say, cool, here you go. This is your first Commander game. You love Avatar. We've made this deck for you, so you can play as Ozai the Phoenix King.
Yes.
And you get to enjoy the narrative of Avatar and the family. Roku's in there, Zuko's in there. Unfortunately, we didn't pull any Azulas, but we got Azula Always Lies, which is something that Zuko's mum and Iroh kind of say.
Yep.
It's quite a common statement in that. So we had the Fire Nation and the Fire Nation family involved in this. So a new player who loves Avatar could come and be like, that's fun.
Yeah.
But then also it wasn't so mechanically heavy that the cognitive burden on the player would be brutal.
Yeah. And I think it's a fine balance because like you could look at the idea of tracking unspent mana, copying spells, all of that stuff. Like that is kind of a step above the like starter commander deck products that have come out. But it's like, it's kind of just that one step above where it's like, that's a little more work, but it's all kind of we try to make it cohesive so that it's like, you learn these 1 or 2 more concepts based like above the base level, and then you're probably good for that game.
And you can do the whole game.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I have to learn. I learn I have to track my mana. If Ozai's down or if Roku's down, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, cool. I'm tracking my mana. They leave. Cool. That goes away.
Yeah.
That's that complexity there. And then the next complexity is, okay, cool. If they're not there, then I still have to track how much mana I have, but it goes away each combat.
Yes.
So either way, you're tracking the number. It's just when the number stays and goes is that final cognitive load.
Yeah. And it's an interesting deck type where it could be the jumping off point for people discovering more nuanced use cases of the way Magic and the rules work. So for example, the idea of, well, I've got Ozai on field. At the beginning of your end step, I'm going to tap all of my mana producing abilities, put it all into my mana pool, untap everything at the start of my turn with all that mana still there.
And it becomes red
as
well. So like, all of this is black, signets, all that stuff. But then that's why we've put things like a Rakdos signet in there, because then you can turn one of that red mana into red and black.
Yeah. So it's that idea of like if you're playing any of these decks that include a mana sink, like an Omnath Locus of Mana, an Ashling Flame Dancer, whatever it is, you start to discover those ideas of like, oh, I can just float the mana before I need it. then untap all my lands and put it all back in again. Do it over and over.
Exactly. And then things like, Chromatic or Ori going in there. What we did miss in this deck was a Reliquary Tower.
Well, I don't think we need it because so many of those card availability mechanics are based around the idea of exile them.
True.
And giving you the ability to play them.
And then also we really want to incentivize, I guess, realistically, that what the deck wants to do and what we wanted to do unintentionally or intentionally was we wanted to incentivize the player to combat. That's that raid mechanic. We want you to use those spells as they're coming.
Move fast and break things as a deck.
Which also communicates to the newer player, oh, I can only have 7 cards in my hand and I have to discard. I've got all this mana. I don't want to hold on to this. I want to be using them for combat.
Spend it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's what we're communicating to the player with the deck that we've built.
And also the idea of like, exile the top 3 cards of your library until the end of your turn, you can play them. Gives you another point of scarcity of like, yes, you've got all this mana that won't go away. You've got access to 3 extra cards, but like those are going to go away instead. So yeah, it's like you are getting a lot of resources, but it's very like peaks and troughs. Like you get a bunch of shit all at once and then it goes away.
Yeah.
And then next turn, do it again. And then it goes away.
And look, we're not Magic designers. We've built a ton of decks in all different brackets. I think other than CDH bracket, we have a deck in each bracket.
Yep.
Multiples.
Yeah.
So it was fun to really take our design and expand it to what's good for a new player, what's good in the culture of Commander, and what is adaptable.
Yeah.
And then what's narrative. Like the narrative did play. I was like the lore keeper for this. I was very heavily in the narrative.
Well, like we've both watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. You've watched the stuff that's come after that. I haven't.
Yep.
And so a bunch of times I was like, I'm pretty sure this is true. And then I had to check it with you.
Yeah.
And be like, would this work? Do these two characters kind of make sense together? What are we doing here?
I finished my rewatch. It's my 3rd rewatch this year because we're recording in November.
Yeah.
My 3rd rewatch this year, like literally a month ago.
Yeah. And that, honestly, helpful.
It was so good. And I did it because of the set, but also I did it because I love narrative.
Narrative?
The narrative of Avatar.
Right.
I please consider building this deck. Play test it. See what you would change out. We went through a small list of cards of, hey, here's what you could add to make it better. I suggested Braids of Fire from the start.
Yeah.
But cumulative upkeep for a brand new player is brutal.
Also, yeah, the idea of like the cumulative upkeep being add red to your mana pool. And like that triggers during your upkeep, so you need some way to keep it past your upkeep. Otherwise, you've got to spend it in your upkeep. It's
brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal. So we didn't add it in. But like, let us know in the comments of this video or go to casualcompliance.fun. You can sign up as an untap, upkeep, or unban level member to join us in our Discord. Let us know what you think you would change in this deck to make it an absolute beater.
Yeah. Yes, you could maybe make this a bracket 4 if you really tried.
I think we really could have.
Dude, especially if you put an Underworld Breach in there, like, oh, cool, I can just cast everything from the graveyard.
Yep, 100%.
Cool.
There's ways to
Look
make
at all this
things
mana I have.
instant speed. There's so much you can do. Let us know what you do. I'm actually genuinely interested. Chuck it in the comments as well. How did we do making a precon at entry level as well? What do you think you at home, who our audience is mostly entrenched players, would you introduce your friends to Magic? You got a friend who's like, I love Avatar, man. Would you sit them down and let them play this deck? Would you even recommend they play this deck? Let us know. I'm genuinely curious, and I will read it.
Yeah. And thank you as always to Spider, our unbanned tier supporter. Love your work.
Thank you very much. We'll have a stream coming up probably as well because we have our streams once a month.
Depends when this comes out. I haven't done the math.
Yeah, but we'll have one soon. We stream monthly as well on YouTube. So
end of the month.
Go to Casual Compliance on YouTube and you can see our stream.
That's it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, and thank you very much, Wizards of the Coast. Thank you so much. This is amazing. This set was brilliant.
Yeah. I want more of it.
You've knocked it out of the park, I'd say. Absolutely say.
Hard to get.